25th of Tishrei, October 17th. And okay, page 96 in the Chayenu. So we said yesterday of the story of Cain, or 2 days ago, and yesterday continued. Cain, also known as Cain, he killed his brother, and he became a wanderer. And God said that for 7 generations you'll be spared, but 7 generations you're going to be killed as punishment for murdering your brother. And here is how the story came about. We said yesterday a very short family tree of Cain for 7 generations. And I think the 6th generation or so was Lemech. His great-great-great-grandson was Lemech. We said Lemech, as was the custom back in those days, that they had married 2 wives. One was for beauty, one was for having children. It was being very objectifying and all that. So Lemech said to his wife, so this is an thing, we don't see the story in the verse. We read between the lines of this dialogue. Okay? So Lemech said to his wives, Ada and his wife Tzila, Shman Koili, heed my voice. Neshei Lemech, O wives of Lemech, referring to himself in the third person. Hazena Imrosi, listen carefully to my words. Ki ish haragti lefitzi, for the man whom I killed was my wound. Yedla lechaburosi, and the child, was that my blow? So what's going on here? Rashi to the rescue. Shman Koili, Rashi Chav Gimel, bottom of 96. And Shman Koili, Shoyinoshav Parshoy Shemenim Mitashrish. His wife separated from him. Why? This is why he's having this conversation, because they had separated from him. Why did they separate? Because he killed, Lemech killed great-great-grandpappy Cain, and he killed his son, Tuval Cain Jr.
It was an accident.
Oh, you're going to see the accident. Because Lemech was blind, and his son, Tuval Cain Jr., was guiding him. And he saw, Tuval Cain saw this wandering, I guess, vagabond. I'm going to say because Cain was kind of a wanderer. Maybe he's a vagabond also. I don't know. And he was walking in the woods or something like that. And it appeared to Tuval Cain that was an animal. I guess like a 300-year-old man with long hair and torn clothes could look like the missing link or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyways, he said to his father, Father, his blind father, okay, get your arrow and shoot. So he shot, and he killed him. Lemech killed his great-great-grandfather. And once he realized that he had struck his great-grandfather Cain, kaf el kaf, hika kaf el kaf, he was mourning by banging his hands together. And unfortunately, his son, Tuval Cain, got in the way of his hand gnashing and banging. And he killed, on top of Cain, he killed Tuval Cain, his son. And that didn't go very well in the family. So his wives separated from him, and he tried to appease them. That's what this dialogue, we open up this dialogue, is going on. So how do you translate the dialogue or the monologue? Maybe I don't know. What's the difference of soliloquy and a monologue, by the way? Same thing for all purposes. Okay. Shman Koili Shamali, attachment. She said to me, "Listen, heed my voice to acquiesce and come back to me, to stay, married to me." The man that I killed, did he die because of my wound? Like, did I try to kill him? Should I be the one that I like? Did I do it on purpose? That it's like I killed him, and then on top of the man that I killed, was it by my intentional wounding that happened? And on top of that, the child that I killed, their son, it was by my, I guess, intentional blow. Bitmiya, how you pronounce it, means it's a rhetorical. It puts like a rhetorical question mark at the end of the sentence. Just little.
Where is that in the text?
Third line from the bottom of that Rashi. Bitmiya. Bitmiya is a very important Talmudic word and Rashi word, because Rashi will say there's no grammar in Hebrew or in the Gemara, so they have to say this is. Usually you read it kind of like just a flow-on sentence. In this case, it's actually a rhetorical question.
But it's in Rashi, not in.
It's in Rashi. Rashi's telling you that this should not be read b'nichusa, in the straightforward. It should be read in a rhetorical question. I was accidental. This is not my wound and it's not my blow. Pitzi, makas cherev. The stroke inflicted by the sword. A pitzi is a sword or arrow wound, in case you're wondering. Mashadur in Old French, or navridur. I don't know. Can't read the Hebrew of the Old French or the French. Okay. Chav Daled. By the way, I got to point out, this comes to mind, the correlation of Tanya and Chumash. What we talk about today, that when things happen, ultimately it's God. So that by Shimi ben Gera, it was intentional. We say it's still ultimately God allowed it to happen. That's what King David was saying. Here we're talking about an unintentional, victim, and he's saying it's not my fault. What do you want from me? I don't think he was saying like it's God's problem, but it is something like that, maybe. Okay. He continues in his monologue. If revenge on Cain was exacted only after 7 generations, right? Cain, an intentional murderer, was killed after 7 generations.
Wow.
The lemech shivim yeshiva. Then me, Mr. Unintentional, I should have at least 77 generations till I get punished, because he's unintentional.
So he sinned even though it was completely accidental.
We'll see Rashi, but I think the point he's saying is that, look, if you're angry at me, don't be that angry at me. At least give me 77 generations to be angry at me. You know what I'm saying? Because God...
Rabbi,
yes.
If we could move somewhat into the future, would this have been taken care of by going off to another,
city of
place?
refuge? City of refuge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting. In city of refuges in the Gemara, it's not every unintentional manslaughter is the same thing. There's there's negligence, accident, then there's just freak accident. You know what I'm saying? So there's levels. Not every accident is the same. But in this case, it seems like it was an honest accident. And although I'm just thinking and connecting the dots, what are they doing hunting?
You're killing an animal.
They can't eat meat then. There was a law you can't eat meat. Till after the flood, they couldn't eat meat. Maybe you're allowed to kill the animal for the hide, maybe. I don't know.
Well, when Havel gave his offering to God, it was an animal, wasn't it? Didn't he have to slaughter the animal?
That's the god. It's different. That's the god. Here we're talking. They're hunting. They're not hunting to bring it to God. I'm just wondering. It just popped into my head.
Well, who eats that meat? Is it just an ola?
Yeah, it was an ola.
That is okay.
I'm just saying, what are they doing hunting? So my point I'm trying to say, you're saying, would this be a unintentional manslaughter that would go to the state of refuge? If this is a legitimate thing to go hunt, and there was an accident, then I guess it's an accident. You go to the
So
state
he
of
was
refuge.
already sinning by hunting in the first place.
That's my question. But it doesn't say that. It doesn't seem to be. You don't see like this, this condemnation of about the hunting. I'm just
Where does it say they were hunting?
in the beginning of the Rashi, in the middle of the Rashi.
Well, you see, by the way,
Oh, actually, you know what? I take it back. I take it back. I disagree. I'm wrong. It doesn't say hunting. That was my own makeup. It says they were walking and they saw an animal. That could be they thought it was a grizzly bear. I don't know. Maybe they're defending themselves. So
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't maybe I'm making it up. There's nothing wrong with killing an animal if there's a legitimate reason to do it, even then. Okay. Moving along.
Gary was saying something.
no, it sounds. I was just saying this is the one deficiency that one of my very intelligent friends finds in artificial intelligence is the kind of reasoning that is going on here is that this kind of like there are little details and complexities that only we or somebody like you, Rabbi, who is very educated, might pick up.
Right. Yep. Okay. Let's go on. Chavdalad. Rashi. So he says, if Cain that killed intentionally had a suspending of his punishment for 7 generations, I who killed b'shoigeg but missed by accident, how much more so I should be, I should certainly have my punishment suspended for many times 7. I guess 10 is just like 10 times 7. 11, actually 11 to be honest. 11 times 7. Shiva, 77. He used the term denoting many times 7 without meaning exactly 77. Interesting. So it's like, 11 times, like he meant like, he wasn't saying like exactly 77. He just meant like a long time away. 7s, many 7s. This is how Rabbi Tanchum explained this passage, Rabbi Tanchum of the Medrash. But according to Medrash Bereshis Rabbah, another Medrash, Lemech, that's, okay. So Medrash Tanchuma is saying it was a mistake, and this is what's going on. But the Medrash Bereshis Rabbah says Lemech did not kill anyone, yet his wife separated from him after they had fulfilled the mitzvah of childbearing. And why? Because they realized that it had been decreed to destroy Cain's offspring after 7 generations. And they said, why should we bear children for destruction? They knew the flood was going to come one day. So why have children if there's going to be the flood? There was a professor of geology who was saying that, he was telling to university students that, there's been some recent updates in global warming predictions, and by all calculations, that in 1 billion years the world will cease to exist. So one of the students is, did you just say that
1 billion?
1 billion, 1 billion years? So one student says, did you just say in 1 million years the world will see? No, I said 1 billion. Oh, shoot, I thought you said 1 million. Okay.
I'm going to worry.
Okay.
My brilliant physics professors used to say people generally don't comprehend numbers over 100 anyway.
Wow. Okay. They realized it had been decreed to destroy Cain's offspring after 7 generations. So why should you have children? Soon the flood will come wipe them away anyways. So he answered them. So that's what this monologue is saying. Did I kill anyone that I should be wounded? Did I kill Hevel, who was a man in size, only a child in age, that my offspring should be considered destroyed for that sin? If Cain, who committed murder, had his punishment suspended for 7 generations, I, who did not kill, should certainly have my punishment, the destruction of my offspring, suspended for many times 7 generations. That's not what it's saying. They thought, I guess, my way of understanding, they understood. So you're saying, why are you assuming in 7 generations is the flood going to come? Cain was a wicked guy, and he got 7 generations. We should have many more sevens. Many times 7 generations. Where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Just see the word the way they say it in here.
But again, there's I think it's even from the Torah that we can't condemn the children for the sin of the father. And yet that's what's happening here.
So very interesting. They misunderstood God's decree against Cain. They thought that everybody of Cain's descendants would die after 7 generations. And now it's starting. Cain's dead. That was wrong. God did not mean that in 7, all of them. But with that faulty premise, they didn't want decay. The sky is falling. We're done. So he says,
The sky's falling.
He said, well, even if everybody's going to die because of Cain, it wouldn't be the same timeline as Cain because he's a murderer. So we have many more time to not to worry about. Understand? And they thought, you idiot, that doesn't make sense. Again, I had to look in here because they say that they have a faulty premise and he has a faulty refutation to a faulty premise.
Right.
What's his faulty refutation? Like, if God says 7 generations, then and everything's gonna be wiped out, then nothing's gonna get done.
Never gets even out.
You're saying like Cain got punished because he was bad. The fact that everybody else get punished won't happen so soon. Because they didn't do anything wrong. But then but you're missing the point. If God said that everybody else has to die, then who cares if they did anything wrong? They have to die. Something like that. Anyways, they didn't buy it. So
Take the decree against Cain, which was as a they tried to generalize that. Someone's generalizing that.
What is Mike saying?
Just thinking out loud that their mistake was the wife's mistake was to generalize the decree against Cain that revenge would be exacted in 7 generations. So the wives are generalizing that and applying it to all their.
And he's saying, but we have time. Like, wait a minute, they're going to die.
Yeah, they're saying, why have any more kids?
So the next part of the pasuk sort of continues. Adam then got back together with his wife Chava, and she bore a son. And they called him Shes. Seth. Kishos li elikim zera acher. For God had granted me other offspring. Tachas Hevel ki hargoi Kayin. God has granted me other offspring instead of Hevel, whom Kayin killed. Rashi. Adam again got back together with Chava. This is a continuation of the story. So they weren't, Lamech's wives were not buying his argument and was staying away from him. So he went to Adam and he complained. I guess Adam's the village elder. And or the world elder at that point. He said to them, so he said to the wives, who are you to make calculations to God's decrees? You do your mitzvah, being fruitful, multiplying, and he will do his. They said to him, who are you to tell us to get back with our husband? You go fix, you're a hypocrite. You first correct yourself. After the debacle of the Garden of Eden, when death was introduced to the world, you separated from Chava for 130 years. So what are you telling? You're also not getting married. He says, you're right. And he immediately reunited with Chava.
Wow.
What does it mean he united again? Is to tell us that he desired her more than before. He loved her more. Okay. Chavav.
I mean, this sets it up so that the entire line of Cain is now out and is replaced by Seth. Is that the idea? I mean,
minus Nama is Lamech's daughter.
Minus Nama.
Nama's Lamech's wife.
Noah's wife.
So she is a Cain descendant. And she ends up marrying Noach.
But other than that, the whole
I think they
line is gone. Well, that makes sense.
Flood is done.
That makes the story all hang together.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to.
Chavav. The Sheis kam hu ben, and Sheis also had a son. Meikra Shmai Enish. He called him Enish. Az hu chalukah b'shem Hashem. It was then that God's name was profaned by people calling Getchkas idols in the name of God. Rashi.
What's a Getchka?
Getchkas are your Yiddish, your YSL, Yiddish, the second language word of the day, is means idols, statues.
So instead of saying idols, we say getchkis.
Getchkes.
Getchkes.
It's not a tchotchka, it's a getchka.
Exactly. Getchkas are very bad. Tchotchkes are neutral. All right. Chavav. Az Huchal, it was then that God's name was profaned. Huchal is an expression of profanation. Like profaning. They call the names of men and of grasses and idols, not grasses, idols, by the name of God. They say, this is a little God, in order to make them the objects of idol worship and call them deities.
Boy.
Perek Hey, chapter 5. Zeh Sefer Tolos Adam. This is the book of chronicles of the descendants of man. B'yem broi elikim Adam, or the enumeration, actually, they say. It's chronicles, numeration, same thing. It's chronicles. What does chronicle mean?
Stories.
It's not the stories. This is just the enumeration. Okay, this is the census of the days of the creation of man. That man created God. This is the enumeration of the descendants of man from when God created man. He created man with resemblance to God. We see this theme, right? This is the enumeration of the descendants of man. There are also many Agadic explanations on this verse. Rashi doesn't have to do that because he says, I don't do medrash necessarily. In the day that God created, this means on the day that he created, he had children. The enumeration of descendants on the very day of his creation, meaning Adam had children the day he was created.
Whoa.
Adam was 1 day old and he had children.
Whoa.
Chava was also 1 day old.
But then 130 years later, he had Seth.
Right.
What are you saying here? Adam, who was how old?
Adam was born on the sixth day of creation.
Yeah.
Chava was, also made on the sixth day of creation.
So
Correct?
yeah. And then what did you say after that?
They had children on the sixth day of creation. Because they were
Wow.
born
He's
as
1 day old and he's having children.
Yeah, but he was born as an adult body. He was born as like a 20-year-old. Physically.
Interesting.
Gimel, Vayechi Adam Shoshim Shana, Adam lived 130 years. Vayel ben Muskit Salma, he then fathered a son resembling him. No, I skipped base. Zachar Nekeva Abraham, he created the male and female. He blessed them, Mikra Shemam Adam Yemibaram, and he called their name Adam on the day they were created. Gimel. Adam lived 130 years. And he then fathered a son resembling him with his form. He called him Shais. So it doesn't mention Cain and Hevel because they die. Their descendants die, I guess.
So Adam, and this is telling us clearly that Adam in Hebrew is a unisex.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Right, yeah, okay.
That's what Rashi said earlier.
Yeah.
The first day of Chumash, the first, whatever it was, that they're, yeah. Yeah. Okay, going on. Adam's days after his father Shais was 800 years. And he fathered sons and daughters. 130 years. Until then, he had separated from his wife. As we said. So Adam's days after he fathered was 800 years, a total. So what's his total span? All the days of Adam's life that he lived was 930 years, and he died. Well, next generation. Shais lived 500 years. 105. 105, sorry. Then he finished that age. Continuing on. Zion. I'll read a little quicker here because it's just about the guy lived X years, had a kid, lived another amount of years, total years. The formula is...
He saw his kid die after 105 years. Okay.
We say right. Mr. A had a child at this age.
Right.
Next verse. He then lived a further B amount of years. A missed another amount of years for a total of his lifespan. So it's always that formula. Mr. A lived X years. After that, he lived another Y years for a total of Z years.
Either do it or just skip it because you're confusing me.
I'm just telling you the formula that's going to repeat itself every single time.
I understand the formula. Yeah.
That's it. So good. Shais lived after he gave birth. He fathered a kid 807 years. He had sons and daughters. His total lifespan was 912 years. And he died. Enosh was 90 years old. As Canaan, and he fathered Canaan. Yud Enosh as Canaan he then lived 815 years. And he fathered sons and daughters. All the days of Enosh's life was 905 years, and he died. Yud base. Canaan then lived a further 70 years. And he fathered Mahalel. Yud Gimel. Canaan lived another 840 years. 840 years. And he fathered sons and daughters. His total years was 910, and he died. Mahalel lived another 65 years. He lived 65 years, and Bayiled as Yored. Tazayin. Mahal after fathering Yored lived another 830 years, and he fathered sons and daughters. So the total life of Mahala was 95 years, 895 years. and he died. Yared lived 162 years. And he fathered Chanech. We're nearing the end. Yared lived another 800 years, and he fathered Chanech. And he fathered sons and daughters. All the year days of Yared's life was 962 years, and he died. Second oldest man was Yared, just so you know. Chanech lived 65 years, and he fathered Mr. Shalach. Deviation of the formula. Chanech followed God's ways for 300 years after he fathered Mr. Shalach, Shleish Shana, for 300 years. And he lived and he fathered sons and daughters. So he's not like 900 years later, it's like 300 years later. Rashi will point it out. Why are we, well, actually, let's see it soon. Chav Gimel. All the years of Chanech's life was 65 years, and a premature life of 365 years. Interesting. We'll talk in a second why that is. Everybody else living 800, 900 years. He's 365. Cut down in his prime, you know.
He wasn't cut down. I don't think so.
Actually, listen up. Chanech followed God's ways, ve'inenu, but then he was no more. For God took him away. What's it telling us? As Rashi. Chanech followed. Chanech was a tzaddik, like Pesach David, but a bigger tzaddik. Not as big though. The kal bedaite l'shul arshia. But unlike Pesach David, who is a forever tzaddik, Chanech was getting easily influenced or thought to start dabbling in idol worship.
All right.
Therefore, Hashem
He became an idol worshiper. I don't understand here. It's not Chanoch.
Listen, you have to finish the sentence, and we can comment on it. Hashem, therefore, hurried to take his life away prematurely, and he killed him before his time. Because the normal life, again, is 800-900 years. He's passing away after 365 years. That's because God cut him down prematurely, because he was going to veer off his righteous path and become an idol worshiper.
Right.
And this is what the verse states about his death, to write, ve'einenu, he was no more. He was no more in this world to complete his number of years. For God took him away. God took him away before his time. A similar term of lakach is like lokech nimcha. Esmach minecha, I am taking away. Taking away means cutting down prematurely.